Hello, this is Olu again. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel or checking out my resources on olubrown.com. We had our part one that focused on normalizing next with a specific focus on your next. And we raised these three questions. Who are you? Where are you? And whose are you? Well, today in our part two, we're going to ask a couple of more questions that I think get to the heart and the essence of what it means to live in your future right now, which is what normalizing next is all about. You know, I wrote this book, Normalizing Next, a post-COVID-19 resource for church leaders, not only for people who are like me, clergy, pastors working in the church, but I wrote this book for folks just like you and people who may not work in the church, but they're interested in what God is up to in their lives. So yes, the book gives tools and techniques for having a more vital and healthy congregation, even in a pandemic, but it doesn't start there. It starts with you. Because to live God's plans and promises for your life, we have to know who we are, believe in who we are, and celebrate who we are with the world. And so that's what Normalizing Next tries to do. And in particular, this resource. Well, imagine being a pastor of a church for 14 years, and it's what we call a new church plant that you had an opportunity to start with 25 other leaders. And over the past 14 years, it has had a phenomenal testimony of reaching people for Jesus Christ. And one day, after that 14-year mark, you stand on the stage and declare to the congregation and the world that you would be retiring from pastoral ministry in the local church, and that 1 year later, you would no longer be a pastor. You were shifting, you were pivoting, you were transforming and transitioning, not just one or two things, but everything. Well, if you can imagine that, then you can believe that that person in that transition and pivot was me. You can go to my website, olubrown.com, and hear that announcement that I gave a little more than 7 months ago. And in just a few months, I will be retiring as a pastor in a local church of one of the most phenomenal churches in all of creation and currently in the world today, Impact Church here in Metro Atlanta. When I made that decision and shared it with the world, the question that people asked was this: why are you leaving? You know, for a moment or two, I sat with that question, and I'll be honest with you, it really got to me. In particular, if there were folks who were very close to me raising that question, because it was as if they were doubting God's call on my life. It was as if they were questioning my decision about my life, as if I didn't know what God was up to, or as if I had no idea what my next would be. They asked the question, why are you leaving? You remember in part one, I told you I had invested a lot of time and energy and commitment in therapy. And over the years in therapy, my therapist has helped me to really deal with myself and to ask myself, Olu, who are you? Whose are you? And where are you? And it was because of that commitment and investment in therapy over the years. Although from time to time when people ask me that question, for the most part, I was okay with their question. And this is why. Whenever you make a personal decision about your life, and there are other people who have issues with it, their issue is not with you. It's about them. Now, I can't take credit for that. I've got to give that credit to my therapist, who over the years helped me to understand it. And I'll share it again. Whenever you make a personal decision about your life and people have an issue with it, it's really not about you. It's about them. And because I had committed that time to therapy and investing in knowing more about myself, I was able to give them their question back. And I didn't spend all of the hours and the days and the minutes that I had in the past trying to come up with some fancy and quick answer, or hey, here's my Excel spreadsheet. Here's my future business plan. Here's what I'm going to be doing in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Man, I've wasted so much of my time trying to help people feel better about me when it's not about them. It's about me. You know, perhaps you're at that point in your life and God is just speaking into your spirit and trying to transition you and transform you, but you're concerned about what people are going to think. You're concerned about what people are going to say. If they're still going to accept me, if they're still going to love me, if they're still going to value me, if they're still going to think I'm the same person. Well, guess what? They may or may not. And whatever they think, it doesn't matter. What is most important is what God is up to in your life. And I wrote this book to tell you, God is up to something in your life. God is doing a new work and a new plan and a new purpose and a new future right now in your life. Even in the midst of a pandemic, man, God is up to something far greater than you could ever imagine. If you would just surrender to God's purpose and plan in your life, I'm telling you, what people think about your personal decisions for your future will be so far in the past. And what will be in front of you is God's glorious promise and future, a future filled with hope and not despair. Here's the question people should have asked me. Not, why are you leaving? But the question they should have asked, where are you going? Whenever people truly care about you, they won't ask you, why are you leaving? Because that's about them. They'll ask you, where are you going? And this is why, because they want to help you get there. They want to pray for you. They want to support you. They want to help lift you. They want to give you a ride. They want to buy you a ticket. They want to buy you lunch or dinner. They just want to be a part of your support band, that in the most difficult times of this transition and whatever that may be for your life, that you know that somebody is praying for you, that you know that somebody loves you, and that you know that somebody cares about you. See, those are the questions that people who really care about you ask. Where are you going? And it's not to be in your business. I just need to know how to pray for you. I just need to know how to send the money to you. I just need your email address. I just need your phone number. And I promise you, I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to blow you up. But every once in a while, I'm going to send you a text message at 2 a.m. in the morning that you'll get when you wake up the next day or the next hour or the next few hours that says, hey, I'm praying for you. Every once in a while, I'm going to send you an email, and it's just going to be some encouragement. And I'm not going to send it often, but it's going to tell you you can make it. Every once in a while, when you're least expecting it, I'm going to call you and I'm going to tell you I'm proud of you. See, when people really care about you, they don't ask, why are you leaving? They ask, where are you going? And so, where are you going? Where are you headed right now? What is your path? What is God's plan? What are you up to? Where are you going? Here's an answer. It's a scripture that I love, Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. And it says these powerful words. I know the plans I have in mind for you, declares the Lord. They are plans for peace and not disaster, to give you a future filled with hope. And so the answer to where you're going is this. I am headed in the direction to God's plan for my life. And to be honest with you, there are some days when it's not clear, but I can feel it on the inside of me. And even when it's not clear, I gotta keep going because I know where God has and what God has in store for me is not where I've been. And it's nothing bad about where I've been or the people where I've been or the places where I've been. But I just know that was a temporary place. God has something else in store. And so the answer to where you're going is towards God's plans for your life. But not only am I headed towards God's plans, but I'm also headed towards my future. The prophet Jeremiah, in these words, says that God has a future filled with hope. Oh my God. After going through a pandemic, you've probably given up on future. And if you do believe in a future, you probably don't think it's very hopeful. I'm telling you, I can see your future. And not only can I see your future, but as one songwriter says, I can see you living in your future, and it is filled with hope. So where are you going? You're going in the direction of God's plans. You're going towards a future filled with hope. So, what is Normalizing Next about? It's about living tomorrow today. And in spite of the circumstances and the challenges that you may face in your work, in your family, in your career, in your life, that tomorrow is possible. And that it's not going to be an ordinary tomorrow. It's going to be a future filled with hope. Hey, I know my new book, Normalizing Next, a post-COVID-19 resource for churches and church leaders, has that big C church word, but I hope you would invest it in any way, even if you're not a pastor or someone who is working in a local church. Because although it talks tools and tips about having a vital and a healthy congregation in a pandemic, it doesn't start there. It starts with these kind of conversations. Who are you? Where are you? Whose are you? And most important, where are you going? Hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with other people, follow me on social media, go to olubrown.com to purchase this new book resource, a post-COVID-19 resource for churches and church leaders. You can also see my other book resources and information about what I am up to in my life as I am pivoting and transitioning to God's preferred future for me. Take care. We'll see you next time for Normalizing Next. You're next.